You ever have one of those moments where you just want to freeze time, step outside your body and ask, is this what your people do? Just walk into good Christian homes and take over? Because let me tell you, that's what she said to me, right in my own kitchen. Not a single hint of oops, wrong house, or even a half-hearted, I'm sorry, nope. I just closed on this house 3 days earlier, still in my suit from work, still feeling like the luckiest guy in the county. And here's this woman, late 60s, bright orange pants, standing there with both hands on my brand new microwave like it belonged to her. She just strolled through the unlocked front door like she was out checking her mail. She didn't flinch when I caught her, not a bit. Just smirked like I was the intruder and she was the homeowner. I think you have the wrong house, I said, trying to keep things civil. She just rolled her eyes. Don't be ridiculous, this house is empty. I'm with the neighborhood watch. We saw suspicious activity, so I came to secure the property. I swear my jaw dropped. Secure the property by stealing my microwave. She had that logic. Only the righteous and the racist ever really master the kind where your attempted theft becomes some kind of heroic civic duty. She kept going with it too. Your people. Suspicious activity. Every dog whistle baked in. I told her calmly but firmly I was the owner, and she needed to get out. That's when she lost it, shrieking like a banshee, whipping out her phone and calling 911, telling them there's a very aggressive black man attacking her in her own neighborhood. I just stood there, prisoner in my own house, waiting for the police to come rescue her from me. 2 officers burst in, no knock, one already palming his pistol, both white. One older with a heavy mustache and tired eyes. The other young and tight-jawed with a buzz-cut, eyes sweeping the room like he was already writing the report in his head. And of course their eyes landed on me, the so-called aggressor. She saw them and dropped the microwave, collapsed in a heap, wailing, "Thank you, officers, he was going to rob the place, then he threatened me." The young cop barked. "Sir, put your hands where I can see them." Not a request, an order, so I did. "Officer," I said as steady as I could, "there's been a huge misunderstanding. This is my house. I just bought it." He wasn't listening. He wasn't interested in the calm voice or the facts or anything that didn't fit the story. The older cop, meanwhile, was comforting her, telling her she was safe. I tried again. "My name's on the deed. The paperwork's right by the door in my briefcase. This woman broke in and tried to steal my microwave." She let out another shriek. "He's lying. This house is supposed to be empty. I'm just checking on the property." Classic case of he said, she said, except that he was a hysterical white woman and she was a black guy who supposedly fit the description of every threat. The scales were not exactly balanced. The young cop told me to step outside. I tried to protest. "This is my house. Why do I have to go outside?" He just said, "Because I asked you to. We need to secure the scene." That was that. I knew arguing would only make things worse, so I nodded and walked out past him and onto my new porch. Out on the lawn with police lights flashing and neighbors poking their heads out, I felt the eyes on me, the new guy already causing trouble. The young cop stood with me, posture stiff hand, never far from his weapon, peppering me with questions like I was already guilty. What was I doing there? How'd I get in? Any ID, I answered every question. Told him about buying the house, meeting painters, just coming home from work, explained the closing documents were right there in the briefcase. All proof I owned the place. He just looked at the briefcase, then back at me, suspicion never wavering. Minutes ticked by. The older officer finally came out with her still dabbing at her eyes, pointing at me, saying, "That's him, officer. He's the one." The older cop looked between us, between the empty house and the accusations, and you could see the calculus happening in his head. "Right now we don't have enough to arrest anyone," he said. "Ma'am, you say he broke in? Sir, you say you own it? Do you have proof you live here?" I said yes again, told him where the deed was. Finally, he had his partner grab my documents, looked through them, saw my name, the address, the seals. For a moment, I thought, this is it. This is the part where they apologize, start grilling her, arrest her for trespassing. But that's not what happened, not even close. The cop just handed my papers back and looked for the path of least resistance, arresting a hysterical old white woman. That's paperwork and complaints. Telling the black guy, even if he's right, to just let it go, that's easy. Just another Tuesday. He said, okay, it's his house. Ma'am, you obviously made a mistake, thought it was empty, just being a good neighbor. Simple misunderstanding? I stared at him, my mouth open. A misunderstanding, I said barely above a whisper. She broke into my kitchen, had her hands on my microwave, told me I didn't belong here. That's not a misunderstanding. That's breaking and entering. But she saw the tide turning, doubled down. I was securing it for safekeeping. He was aggressive. He frightened me. The cop raised his hand. Let's calm down. Nothing was taking the microwaves here. She's elderly, probably confused. Are you sure you want to press this? It'll be a hassle. A lot of paperwork for what? Best for everyone to let it go and be good neighbors. The condescension, the injustice hit me like a punch. He was asking me, the victim, to be the bigger person, to smooth things over, make his job easier, let her crime slide for the sake of neighborliness. I felt the anger boiling over. No, I growled. I'm not letting this go. I want to press charges, file a report. I want her arrested. Their faces hardened. I'd gone from victim to difficult. She glared at me with hatred, couldn't stand that I wouldn't play along, wouldn't be the scary black man, wouldn't accept her as the victim. The cops took my statement perfunctory, bored hers too, a work of fiction. Then they gave her a ride home 2 houses down. As the cruiser pulled away, she looked back with that smirk like, see, nothing happened. You don't belong here and I'll prove it. Back inside my dream house, I felt sick. The kitchen was a crime scene. The system not only failed me, it took her side. They saw a black man, a white woman, and defaulted to the script. I sat in the living room suit, still on daylight fading, realizing the DA would probably never look at the case. But a hard resolve started forming. They thought I'd let it go. They thought I'd just swallow it. They were wrong. And then, like a thunderbolt, I remembered the camera. I'd bought a set of security cams, left one on the mantle, maybe even plugged it in. I rushed over. Sure enough, the blue light was glowing. Was it recording? There was an SD card slot. Maybe there was hope. Fumbling with my phone, downloading the app, connecting it felt like slow motion. And there it was, blue bars showing 45 minutes of motion in the afternoon. I hit play and watched her walk in bold as brass, straight to the kitchen, eyes lighting up at the microwave, making her move. The whole scene, me walking in her racist line, her false 911, call the police, treating me like the criminal, all their crystal clear. It was the whole story unspinnable. I saved copies everywhere. This was my silver bullet. Next morning, I went straight to the station, handed the detective the thumb drive. This is the whole thing, her breaking in, making racist statements, false 911 call, and the cop's response. It's all on there. The detective's interest went from bored to serious real quick. I made sure he knew her name, her address, the case number. But a week passed then, too. The silence was deafening. Calls got me nowhere. My confidence turned to frustration. I'd handed them everything and still nothing. Meanwhile, life in my new home became a nightmare. Every time I saw her outside, my stomach knotted. She started calling city departments, sending code enforcement for fake complaints. Too tall grass, overflowing bins, nonsense. She was trying to bury me in 1,000 annoyances. The final straw. She filed for a restraining order against me, saying I was stalking her. Pure fiction, but a clever move. If the judge bought it, I'd have a legal black mark. I called my PI. She's playing hardball, he said. You need a very good lawyer. Court was surreal. She came in with her son, the detective, all law enforcement swagger, and played the frail old lady, spinning stories of dead, angry eyes and threats. Even the microwave, she claimed she was just moving it for my sake after coming by to drop off muffins. My lawyer tried to get the video in, but the judge wouldn't allow it. Not a criminal trial, he said. Her word against mine, and the judge sided with her. Temporary order granted. I was the threat, now legally bound to avoid the woman who'd invaded my home. I realized then playing by the rules was pointless. The system was rigged. If I wanted justice, I'd have to go outside it. The court of public opinion. I sent the video to my cousin Jamal, a social media strategist who fights for civil rights. He edited it into a 3-minute bombshell. Her racist lines, her attempted theft, my calm response, her crocodile tears, the cops siding with her. Then he sent it to journalists and activists. It exploded. Overnight, the hashtag trended news vans circled my block. My face and her orange pants were everywhere. The local PD was under siege, comments flooding their social pages. The DA called he'd seen the video, was deeply disturbed, and was filing charges, breaking and entering attempted larceny, false report. I felt a wild, dizzy relief until the news announced her son was under investigation for interference. I had made a real enemy now, and the war escalated. First, a right-wing smear campaign about my old failed business appeared online, funded no doubt by the son. Next, my old partner Kevin from that failed startup filed a bogus lawsuit against me again, clearly bankrolled by the son. I was fighting on 2 fronts, spending a fortune, while the son tried to grind me down with bureaucracy. But then my PI handed me a photo, the son and Kevin plotting together. Collusion, witness, intimidation. We brought it to the DA, and suddenly the system woke up. The son was indicted for conspiracy and obstruction. The civil suit vanished. Kevin crumbled under subpoena. With her son disgraced and facing prison, the woman's defense collapsed. The video played for the jury, and after less than an hour, the verdict's guilty, guilty, guilty. She got probation counseling and a permanent restraining order. Now she had to keep away from me. The son pled down, lost his badge, his pension, everything. I won. I had my name back, my home back, and the woman was forced to sell her house. But the victory didn't taste sweet. It was costly. My savings gone, my nerves shot, my faith in the system shaken. Still slowly, I started to reclaim my life. Renovated the kitchen, joined my cousin's nonprofit as a speaker, turned my story into a tool for change. Over time, life grew normal again. Sarah and I married in the backyard. Our son learned to ride his bike on the same street where I'd once been humiliated. The ghosts faded, replaced by new memories. My story became a bridge for change. Even the older cop found me one day and apologized. I realized that as hard as it was, I'd forced the system to look at itself and take a tiny step toward justice. And here's the kicker: the new neighbors moved in 2 doors down. First thing I did, helped them carry in a microwave. Sarah and I baked cookies. We stood on their porch laughing, watching their kids run in the yard. That was the real victory. Not the verdict, not the headlines, but a quiet evening where I could walk my own street and just breathe. So here's my question. How many times does this kind of story play out? Unseen, unrecorded, unresolved, just because the wrong person had the courage to stand their ground. What do you think? Does justice actually matter if you have to fight so hard just to get back to normal? Drop a comment, share your thoughts, or tell me your own story. I fought for my home, my dignity, and my peace of mind, and I hope nobody else ever has to do the same.